So what's on my mind this morning, listeners, is the PM's statutory declarations. This whole issue about them. I see you rolling your eyes over there, Pat.
Yeah.
And this call, I wonder why, but I'll ask you soon. And this call for the Integrity Commission to publish his assets and liabilities, which I have no doubt that they're going to do once they're finished verifying everything he submitted, once they finish checking and double checking and everything. Why did you roll your eyes?
So I rolled my eyes because, one, there's a confusion in the space. They've been putting pressure on the PM to declare what he reported to the Integrity Commission. Process is not that. Process is he's to submit, and he submitted late. Let us accept
and he's admitted that
100%. He submitted late, and if he's going to walk by example, he should not have done that, right? But he did it. He submitted it to the commission. They are now going through the process.
Exactly.
To publish.
Exactly. So
Sit down and wait.
Just wait on them to publish, and that's one of my main points this morning, because that's where I have an issue. And the issue is not with the Integrity Commission to me, but with people who are acting like they don't know that it takes some time to verify the things that the Prime Minister
I hear people saying
has submitted.
He must go ahead and publish them since the Integrity Commission hasn't really.
And he said he would, but that's beyond the point. So this criticism is actually aimed at both political sides. Because first of all, it would be helpful to know exactly when the PM filed his declarations. We know it was filed late, but when exactly was it filed? When did you give the Integrity Commission the documents? Because that would help us to know how long the Integrity Commission has had it and help us to determine what's a reasonable time for them to have these documents without then publishing them and making them public. So we'll know how long the Integrity Commission has been taking to comb through it. And we'd also like to know, well, when did you receive Dr. Phillips's declarations and how long did it take you in comparison to comb through those? Because this is not an overnight process. So the PM has already told us, he's already admitted that he filed late. I don't know how late. On Monday, July 22nd, Robert Morgan told us that the PM's declarations would have been published that week. I don't know. But they don't have any they can't tell the Integrity Commission.
They don't have control over that.
They don't have control over when the Integrity Commission will publish. I suppose he expected it to have been published that week, knowing that the Prime Minister had already filed. But how long before July 22nd was that filing done? Was it done on July 21st? And you expected them to publish on the 22nd or in the week of the 22nd? I don't know. So that's about 3 weeks ago that Robert Morgan told us that, right around the time that Dr. Phillips's declarations were filed. So the pressure turned up after that. Once the opposition leader's one comes out, of course, they were published in the newspaper.
Right, they were gazetted. So that's when
and
people
published in the
knew.
newspaper.
Right.
Right. The newspaper is what matters, or published in the media to the public, because who knows where to access the Gazette? Have you ever seen the Gazette? I'm a journalist. I don't even know what the Gazette looks like or where to access it. That's sad. So how long before that did the Integrity Commission have the files from the Prime Minister, and how long can we assume to be reasonable in checking and cross-checking the information? Because this is something that they have to get right. This is very, very important that the Integrity Commission gets it right. If they ever get something wrong, there will be hell to pay from the public and from the said same opposition that's demanding that they release the declarations now. Because if the Integrity Commission misses something, everybody will be down their throats saying, how come you didn't notice this? How come you didn't do your due diligence? How come you never checked this? And how come you never checked that? And didn't verify and blah, 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 blah. And we'll be here on this talk show cussing the Integrity Commission. And people will be, calling us and complaining and being down their throats. So give them time to do their proper due diligence and then release the document. So I have some degree of sympathy for the Integrity Commission in this process, but I still would like to know, how long they've actually had these documents. What's a reasonable time for them to do these types of checks? But I'm willing to give them some time to do what they need to do to make sure they get it right. Yeah.
In other spaces, there's this toss-up between speed and accuracy, and I don't think the work of the Integrity Commission should be subject to that same toss-up between speed and accuracy. Accuracy is all when it comes to the Integrity Commission, certainly from where I sit. You expect a level of detail. That's what you expect from them, and you don't rush that.
Yeah, what's the rush? What's the issue with the speed? It's not like media, we have our deadlines. Like, we need to make our news cycle. But is there a general election coming within a couple of weeks that we need to know this information before the election comes? Or what is the need for the urgent need? No, as opposed to next week or 2 weeks from now, after they've completed all their checks and cross-checks and whatnot. So, like I said, I have some sympathy for the Integrity Commission, being that they're brand new as well. And I'm annoyed at the political bickering over this issue, because now the PNP is saying that they're going to take the Integrity Commission to court if they don't release the Prime Minister's findings. I'm like, hold on, hold your horses. The Integrity Commission never said that they weren't going to release the declarations. They're going to release the declarations. So I could understand that approach from the PNP if the Integrity Commission has said we're not going to release them. Then, of course, by all means, take them to court, because by law, they're supposed to publish this information. And then on the other side, the Prime Minister is saying, well, I'll release it myself if the Integrity Commission doesn't. That doesn't solve anything either. Like, that's beyond the point, because the whole point is to have the declarations properly vetted by this independent body. And I know the Prime Minister is only saying that because he feels public pressure by the public and by the opposition, the PNP, whose job is to some extent to put pressure on the government for certain things, and they have their political reasons for doing so.
I don't think this is one of those things. Pick your battles. I'm
just annoyed that this has become such a political issue. But that said, I do see great value and significance in the public release of these declarations by both political leaders and properly vetted by the Integrity Commission. So for anyone who thinks that this whole exercise is a complete waste of time, you have to remember where we're coming from in terms of corruption. It's very significant that for the first time, the public will be able to know the declared assets and liabilities of our political leaders, because these declarations have been done before to the Integrity Commission, but they remained private. It remained in the hands of the Integrity Commission. We, the public, never got to see what they actually were. As Professor Monroe was the one who pointed it out on this program, I think last week, that this is the first time they're going to be made public. And the importance of this is for reasons of comparison, because the concern has always been that politicians over the years have unjustly enriched themselves while in office, using public resources to do so. Straight up corruption. So if these declarations are public, we, the public, can now see what a politician's assets were at the start of his or her term, and then what they are at the end of his or her term. Mm-hmm. And if you see this dramatic rise, all of a sudden they turn multi-billionaire within the space of their 5-year tenure, you go, oh, well, this extra money come from? And then they also have to declare for their spouses and children. Why? Because people have been known to put things in the names of their wife, their children, the helper. Yeah. Although helper's not on the list. That needs to declare as well.
Helpers and concubines should be on the list.
But people have been known to put things in the names of other people. We've seen that happen before. And even though, those who really are committed to being corrupt, who really want to be corrupt, are going to find ways to do it. They're going to find other people in whose names they can put it, such as the helper and the driver and the gardener and whoever else can be paid off to participate in the corruption. But at least this makes it one step more difficult to do so. And I'm all for that. That's what's on my mind.